Hello everyone, this is Star King Wizard, and based on the facts that I've gotten over 20 likes on the previous video, I feel as though it is my obligation to help the people from Home Arcade be able to find a new home. But before we actually go talk about these steps, we have to set up some ground rules first. So the first thing that I'm going to focus on is community aspect of it. For Home Arcade was focused on community, so that's what these apps are going to be focused on mainly. There will not be anything involving streaming or multiplayer, for that is entirely impossible due to the fact that Vortex Connect is the only multiplayer app that can do what basically what Home Arcade did when it comes to hosting. And if you don't want Vortex Connect, I'm afraid your only option is to do it the old-fashioned way. You're gonna have to basically go make a post on any of these platforms. So please understand that Vortex Connect is the final app that does connect, like what Home Arcade and basically Blockman Multiplayer or any apps before Home Arcade did. Another thing to keep in mind is that apparently all the apps that I'm going to tell you right now is available on Apple. So if you guys have any concerns that maybe it's not on the Apple Store, then good news. My friend did check it out, and it shows that almost all the apps that I'm going to be mentioning are actually in the Apple Store. So give a shout out to my friend Zane for actually having an Apple phone so that I can make sure it is 100% possible. One last thing, I'll be reviewing apps that require the use of a Gmail account over needing to give up your phone number so that you won't have to risk giving up your phone number to an app that you may or may not use very often. With these limitations in mind, I'll be using a rating system, and here's how it's going to go. The rating number scale is going to be from 1 to 5, where the 1 is the negative value and the 5 is the positive value. The things that will be for the rating is the age demographic, where 1 is where the demographic is mostly adults and no teens. 5 is when the demographic is mainly teens and no adults. The UI rating is basically where if I give a rating of a number 5, the app is very much easy to go through, while number 1 is when it's complicated. It can get so complicated that it's very much harder for anyone to go navigate through the app. And the last thing I'll be rating is safety, because it's important to have safety no matter what. And by that I mean the power to block people or even report people for basically what they're doing wrong. If I give the platform a 5, they have 100% safety, while 1 is basically 0% safety. With these ratings in mind, let us go. The first app I consider very much bottom tier is by the name of Raster. This app to me has the least community activity out of all of the other apps. They have what Home Arcade had originally, and that is by having like separating communities. Basically, like if you want to hang out with a certain group of people who have a certain type of game, it's basically like Home Arcade, where you can basically go hang into the communities that you want to be in. And there's even other representations of other games, meaning Minecraft and Roblox are not that main attraction. They even have squads like Home Arcade, where you can click on the join button and you basically enter the squad. However, like pressing the join, you go in the world not. You just go into a chat group, or like the room where you chat with the people. It's just so that you can get the information so that you can play with them. When it comes to what the app has to offer, there is posts. One good thing about it is that there's a way to report the user and even block the user in case some of them do inappropriate behavior. However, there's some downside when it comes to using this app. The community is very small, meaning it's going to be difficult to get people to play with depending on if they're actually very active or not. The next issue is like the UI can be very glitchy at times, basically making it be a patient game. Profile customization is very limited, for you can only edit the profile picture, the cover, my games, and the bio, which to me I think we should have a much greater emphasis or more rights to customize our bio. So overall, here are the positives and the negatives. When it comes to the rating, I'll rate the age demographic as a 2 to 3 due to how much there's much more adults than teens. And the UI is 1 due to how bad the loading can be, making you look at the app is broken and you have to reset the app. Lastly, when it comes to safety, I'll rate it as a 3 due to at the very least having at least a report button and a block button just in case you need to report on it. In the end, I say this app is very much a final resort in case you can't use the other apps due to either your country doesn't support these apps, or you're not in the right version of Android or Apple. The second app is far from Home Arcade when it comes to community, but this app focuses on one thing only, and that is basically trying to do multiplayer. So let me explain. The second app, by the name of Gamerlink, is basically far away from Home Arcade, but at the very least has one main focus about the app, and that is basically multiplayer. And how this works is that it's a recruitment app due to how all you need to do is just make a post and then wait for people to reply to the post or even join in the post. They basically press this join button where the post stays and then enter into a chat room where they can basically talk with someone to get them actually to join. And this doesn't even apply to Minecraft or even Roblox. This applies to almost every other game that is outside your phone. That's right, PC and console players where you want to hang out with these type of people, it's actually possible with this app. However, there's some things we have to keep in mind. Like when it comes to joining, you may have to go outside the app based on the host. And by that I mean they may ask you to go use a Discord account or even use any other way to communicate, which basically a red sign that you need to be skeptical if you want to go play with them. Another negative is the same as the other app where customization is limited. And another thing to keep in mind is that some of them may ask you to be in a certain age group, and I'm literally asking you, I'm literally saying this right now, please do not enter any chat rooms by lying about it. By entering the chat room, you're going to experience some stuff that you literally shouldn't have not been exposed to in the first place. So here are positives. It's enough in the negative. In the end, I will have to rate the age demographic as a 3 to 4 due to many of the posts saying they rather have more adults than teenagers, but there's still a small amount of teenagers when it comes to using the app. And the UI is a 5 due to how simple it is. In the end, if you cared only about getting players and not about the community, this app is good for you. However, understand the risk when using the app, and always remember that there is always a good time to leave based on how much of the player's behavior goes downhill or go too far. This third app, to me, actually can come in handy for people who are like over the age of 17 and they would like to hang out with people who are literally like adults without having to deal with teenagers. The app in question is Noobly. This app did something better than what Armored Arcade did, and that is separating the people from who play games from the console, PC, and phone, resulting in communities to be formed, but only for the adult player base. And profile customization is very incredible, for you can change the profile picture, the profile ring, the color frame, the card frame color, the username, your language, your server location, your birthday, your badges, your bio, gaming hours, times when you play on a certain times of the week, your gaming platform, games you're currently playing, and games that you played at some point. To me, it's basically a recruitment app in a very much in a better way, for it has better customization and it has better report options that you can basically report on based on if the user is being negative. And guess what? You can even report people who are like under the age of 16. And the last thing is that they can even block users from you appearing again, or they invite you again. Here's some of the downsides. The downside is the fact that you can get negative people based on who you are, so it's best to enter with caution. And the thing is that the UI can be very confusing at times, making it be difficult at certain points. And when it comes to customization, that stuff isn't for free. You have to work hard on getting coins just to get the customization stuff. And being able to play with a user requires spending points, so it's best to basically like get a whole bunch of users who play the same game and then make a final decision on who you want to play with. So here are the positives and the negatives. In the ratings, I will have to give the age demographic as a 1 due to being mostly an adult app. The UI gets a rating of 1 due to how hard it is and how it can be confusing at times when it comes to getting the buttons you want. And when it comes to safety, I will give it a 4 to 3 due to being able to report the user and even being able to block the user as well. In the end, I say this app is mostly good for the adults, and it's a good way for people who want console and PC players, and you get them by just chatting with one person at a time. Alright, so we're in the final two apps, where I consider these two to be high due to how close these two are when it comes to basically replicating what Armored Arcade was. That was Community. So let us go into the final two. When it comes to rating the second app, to me, I say the second place goes to Game Ram. This app has a community where you can post, and in the post you can do like, comments, and sharing the post, and even follow people, which is basically as a substitute for friends. And the thing to keep in mind is that profile is very limited, for you can only customize the profile picture, the bio, and what you're playing at the moment in game that you're currently playing on your phone, and links. And you can basically report the user and even their posts depending on how bad they are, including blocking the user if you don't like them. Even though this app actually represents Armored Arcade 100%, there's actually a downside, is that getting players can be pretty difficult to get, or pretty easy depending on how much the player is willing to pay attention to your post. They don't have it's the same relationship with Armored Arcade. Like, we know for Minecraft and Roblox can be popular, but at the very least, there's other apps as well. Meaning, if you don't like Minecraft or Roblox, you're not gonna see posts of them. You only see posts related to the thing that you like. So that's a thing to be mindful of. And that is why this app is second place, because of the fact that it's not easy to basically get people to play with. So with that in mind, here are the positives and negatives. In the end, the age demographic is 4 to 5 due to how many people are posting are related to teenagers, and the US is 5 due to how easy it is, and lastly, safety, I rated a 3 due to how you can report the user and post, including blocking the user. In the end, this app is like Armored Arcade when it comes to community, and it's a good place to post what games you play, but recruitment is harder, so it's best to be looking out for posts to join with the other players. I will say one last thing, but for now, it's the end of my journey when it comes to Armored Arcade. However, that doesn't necessarily mean I want Armored Arcade history to be gone forever, so in the comments, I want you guys to rate your Armored Arcade experience so that it can be archived. It can be anything, it can be good or bad, as long as we understand some of the problems of Armored Arcade or even some of the positives. Before I head out, I would like to say this quote to the people who doesn't want to let Armored Arcade go and is sad that it's over. Here's the quote: "It's time to let go, for the more you keep crying about wanting Armored Arcade back, the more you will suffer believing in the lie that you yourself made up. And that isn't the right way to go. Acknowledge the good times and the bad in order to have a bright time in another app. For it's time to stop looking down, look head up, and instead of crying tears of sadness, cry tears of joy, and follow head on to a new adventure waiting for you." With that in mind, this is Star King Wizard signing off.